Being an authentic leader requires others to appreciate the conflict and truth inherent in being human. There's a growing call for leaders to be authentic and to bring their full selves to work. However, what does it mean to be authentic? Are people prepared for their leaders to be authentic? And is it possible to train leaders to be more authentic? We're all human, and to be human means to be shaped by experiences, circumstances, and contexts. We have multiple identities, preferences, principles, which can appear to conflict and hold true at the same time. Great leaders can be contradictory. They can change their minds.
I'm saying this now, having been through those experiences and had the benefit of those reflections. It was quite tricky early on because people that both in the team and the client were looking for a kind of like a single thing that they better understood. And with an omnivert, what they experience is volatility. You know, so, Bo, you're a really cool, fun guy. Why are you being upset about this? Upset doesn't fit your profile. But I'm also quite fast and sharp. So what people wanted was a more predictable thing so they could better, without risk of being cynical, so they could better understand how to work around that for their own benefit. I think there's inherently, amongst everyone, a self-optimization.
It was interesting because looking at me, you don't think I'm Indigenous at all. It's just, so it was, and I never walked around just going, hey, what have you, or anything like that. But yeah, I think it was just giving people the time of day and actually just taking the time and just letting people know that you're not just another number or you're not just another job for them for that day. It's hard, like you might have gone to a fatal car accident and then the next minute you're at old Doris's house because, someone's trampled her plants or there's music's too loud next door and you have to just switch gears back into like this, like you haven't just sort of handled a dead body or something and it's like, oh yes, your flowers are trampled. For her, that could be the most serious thing that happens to her. So it's, I
found it hard to be myself in the environment. So they sort of kind of, the work life and the client life sort of forced into one of the versions of me to come out. And I had to learn to be a bit more controlled.
It's hard not to bring, one's whole self. I don't really know what that means, to be honest. I'm just using that term because it seems to be quite de rigueur. But yeah, bringing one's whole self to it. It's very hard to compartmentalise, parts of your life that are really super important to you in a professional workplace such as this. And we all have, you're right, we all have different identities, and we can be a carer or a mum, or when we need to be, and then we can be this absolutely hardcore decision maker at work when the going gets tough and you have to make some decisions. But for me, I think spirituality is one of those things that you practice, that you do. It's an active thing. For me, I think spirituality is the act of doing your day-to-day things. It's how you're mindful of writing an email to someone that may contain material that they may not necessarily want to have, or a workload issue, being mindful of what that burden is for another person when you're asking them to do something. And, that for me is part of my spiritual practice, I guess, that, I do my best to be as mindful as I can. And I know when I'm not.
I sort of learned that I just had to explain to people what was going on in me and let people make a call as to whether that was okay or not, rather than try and be what people wanted me to be. I'm just far more raw about it now. Again, experience and sharing that. Because you can take it or leave it. There's nothing I can do about it. It is what it is. Particularly at my age, I'll do my best, but it is what it is. I am what I am.
I may not look like a woman of faith, but I am a very strong woman of faith. And I've never had any kind of difficulties in reconciling my grandmother's culture with my, European faith, my Judeo-Christian faith. It's not something I've ever been conflicted about. Many years ago, I practice yoga, I contemplate, I meditate, I do a whole swathe of things, and that's never been anything more than a human being looking after themselves in a way that makes sense to them.